Although it may be hard to believe at first, there is one particular skill that can completely cut through conflict and miscommunication in your relationship. And what this means is that arguments that used to swell and take days to resolve, you're going to get through them in a matter of hours. And arguments that used to take you hours to work through, you're going to get through in a matter of minutes. And beyond the mere time saving of this, what this means is that you're going to be building relationship capital. You're going to have a resource built for your relationship so that you and your spouse and the relationship as a whole are able to solve the real problems of life more effectively. So if you've ever heard your wife say something like, "You never listen to me, that's not what I said, that's not what I meant," this is going to change all of that. Now, the practice is very simple. It's called reflective listening. And your signal to use this is when you feel the tensions are kind of mounting, when your blood pressure is building, when things are getting kind of heated. That is your signal to slow down and practice this reflective listening. Essentially, what you're going to do is repeat back to the other person what you have heard them say. And then you're going to ask, am I getting you? Am I getting the heart of it? So there may be five different things the person said, and you could say, okay, I hear you say that I never listen. I hear you saying that you feel hurt. I hear you saying that I have broken your trust. I hear you saying you don't feel safe. Am I getting you? Now, what you're doing is you're bracketing the fact that you may very well disagree. You may think and feel something entirely different. But for the time being, what you're doing is you're establishing common ground on the things you have heard that person say. This helps bond at the level of emotional attunement, and it reduces some of the noise in communication. Quite often, what we do instead of reflecting back and building off of similarities is we just lean into the differences. We go into something like a yeah, but, this and this and this and this. And that can often, whether it's logical, rational, reasonable or not, that can often leave the other person with the sense that they have not been heard. Now, the practice, as you can see, it's really quite simple. You're going to listen to what they've said. You're going to reflect back what you have heard, and then you're going to ask, am I getting you? And the person may say, yeah. And if they do, you're going to see the shoulders drop some when they say that. And they start to let their guard down because, well, go figure, their message has gotten through. They may say, no, actually, no, you got that wrong, or you forgot a part, or, that's not actually what I meant. In which case, you can work through it again and say, okay, well, so help me understand. I hear you saying this, and I hear you saying this, and I forgot that part. Now am I getting you? However many times it takes to go through this, it really is worth working through it because the moment the other person says, yeah, you're getting me, you have established a bond. You have found common ground in the midst of the conflict, and that's going to help the relationship as a whole integrate the differences between the two of you. So when you have reflected all of that back and you've asked, am I getting you? And they've given you the confirmation that, yeah, you have heard what they're saying, then you're free to share what you think and share what you feel. And if you want to be certain that you've got the green light to do so, you could ask, hey, are you ready for a difference? Or could I share a different perspective? Or I disagree. Then you share whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever the case may be. This way you can contain the differences in the relationship and begin to integrate them at the rate which the relationship as a whole can integrate. This really is how relationships develop across time is they recognize and they integrate differences. But if we come in with too different a difference before we've done the work of integrating, it just makes noise and it leads to both people starting to operate from a survival position rather than a developmental stance, let's say. Now, I want to highlight there was a recent study. This was a meta-analysis. I've got some notes on it down here. A meta-analysis of 5 different studies with over 1,600 different participants. I mean, this is pretty robust here. Found that feeling genuinely heard may matter more than being agreed with. So, quite often, when we're in the midst of conflict, we're told that, well, we have to find points of agreement. And eventually, yeah, you want to get there. That's the integrative work. Before rushing to agreement, actually ensuring that both people have heard one another goes a long way. What this meta-analysis concluded is that people who had the sense of being genuinely heard, even in the midst of disagreement, they reported greater well-being. They reported more optimism for the relationship, stronger satisfaction of their basic psychological needs, including relatedness, including autonomy, and including competence. Basically, when we are reflecting back what we have heard the other person say, we are building their psychological well-being through this process of emotional attunement. So the researchers concluded that high quality listening in the midst of disagreement is actually more important than moderate quality listening during agreement, which sounds kind of strange when we think about it. I mean, maybe our gut hunch is that it's more important to agree. But what these researchers found is that even in the midst of disagreement, the most important thing in terms of psychological well-being is high quality listening. And a way we can demonstrate high quality listening is, well, by listening and practicing this reflective listening. We can demonstrate to the other person that we have taken in and reckoned with their point of view and then reflect it back to them. We can say, okay, you're saying this and this and this and this and this. Am I getting you? When they say, yeah, boy, their well-being skyrockets. And again, their sense of relatedness, their sense of autonomy, their sense of competency, their optimism for the relationship. I mean, this is a gold mine for working through conflicts. Now, it can take a little bit of practice to get the hang of this. It's a different way of listening than most of us have been conditioned to do so. Quite often, we're conditioned to listen from a merely personal stance. We take everything personally and we make it personal rather than seeing our conflicts as quite often just the normal dynamics of relationships. So this reflective listening can take you out of the merely personal role, and you can start to take a more deliberate role as a member of this system, a member of this relationship. And again, in doing so, you're going to be building a tremendous emotional resource for the relationship. So I certainly hope this is a blessing for you. It has been a blessing in my own life, I can tell you that. I would not be married without it. I know that for sure. So anyway, I hope you're able to put this to good use. Let me know in the comments how it goes for you. If you have any questions, happy to carry on the conversation there.